Get a Doval jersey. You know what? That might not be a bad idea. Again, he's a lot younger than me, but there's a jersey I would buy. It'd probably be Camilo Doval. All right, that's a fun one. If you had to pick a jersey to buy on this team after they win 4-3 against the Padres and won 9 in a row, what jersey would you buy? Would you buy the Casey Schmidt jersey?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like Patrick Bailey's a fun one because there's something about being a catcher, right? There's just something about, the guy behind the dish. I don't know. I really like him, but I feel like the Matos one is the one that's going to, if they can get it out there, and if that's the number he's going to stick with, that is the one that I think a lot of people are going to want because he's an everyday player.
Right.
But that 75 Doval, I think that one's pretty sweet too.
That 75 is nice.
I think it's pretty sweet. But I do like the single-digit number on Casey Schmidt. It looks cool. But if I'm betting on futures, I think in order, I go Matos, Doval, Bailey, Schmidt. In terms of career in the Giants right now, it's so early.
Already a better 75 than Bear Zito?
Yeah. Zito had like 4 great starts.
He's got a World Series, so.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
What? What did I do? So this is what, year 6 of Farhan Zaidi, right?
Yes.
And year 5 of Gabe Kapler?
Yes.
How'd you assess them through 6 years?
2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Fourth
year for Kapler.
Yeah. Because he came in the COVID year, 60-game schedule.
So
Bochy's last year was 2019.
Yeah, so that was Farhan's first year, right?
Farhan came December of 2018.
So 2019, 2020,
he's had 6 off seasons, essentially.
Yeah, 6 off seasons, 5 seasons.
Yes.
How would you assess his performance so far, Farhan Zaidi? Because let's not be fooled, he is calling all the shots.
I'm looking at it right now, and I think that it's starting to show some of the fruit on the tree. Like I got this little plant in the backyard, an avocado tree, and I've got a little lemon tree, and I'm starting to see these little tiny things starting to sprout out. But it's got a long way to go. And if there's a big gust of wind, my tree might go flying out of the pot. So I feel the same way about where Farhan's at right now. He inherited a financial disaster. He didn't really, to me, he made some shrewd trades to move off of money and get you a guy like, Beck, who's helping you now. But Beck's a minor speck of sand on the beach, right? He's not a pillar of the organization. He's not a foundational piece. All of the foundational pieces, they haven't traded. Right. So that's good. Now, we haven't seen any of them outside of the 3 guys we've seen this year. And then he's developed a couple of guys that he were carryovers. Matos, carryover. Doval, carryover. Logan Webb, carryover. And he gets a lot of credit for that.
Right.
I think his free agency right now is probably his biggest hole because the feather in the cap moves like the Gosmans and the Rodons that were knocking out of the park, signings.
Right.
You got them and you squeeze the lemon and then they left for nothing. So I think it's been a mixed bag, but I feel the most optimistic I felt over the last 6 years. I know I'm all over the place here.
Yeah, so, he dodges his bullet with Carlos Correa. And I never, I'm on record saying I didn't like the signing. What I hated about it was the process in which they handled it. I thought it was classless the way the Giants handled that situation. But initially, when they gave Carlos Correa the signing, I was like, oh my gosh. And we cited the numbers. We had an argument, all of us. I was just like, this guy's never hit more than 24 home runs in a season. Like, I wasn't feeling it. It was like, let's panic. We didn't get Judge, so let's go get Carlos Correa. The Judge one hurts. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Judge is hurt right now, and they dodged a bullet. Well, I'd still take Aaron Judge on this roster.
Everyone would.
They'd be that much better if they had Aaron Judge. Everybody would. So I like where Farhan's going here, but I think, 5 years in, we don't give them as much heat as we give John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, because they've been knocking on the door, and it feels like, you can't win the big one is somehow a bigger indictment than you can't be consistently good.
Right. The Giants haven't been consistently good. Yeah, exactly. To your point, they haven't been consistently good, but yet we rip Lynch and Shanahan, and I'm guilty of it as well because they can't win the big one. But just think about where they've been. You think about the ownership groups. The Giants botched the Correa situation. I don't think they did a great job at recruiting Aaron Judge. And they're still spending a bunch of money. And you look at the money that they're spending. Mitch Haniger, IL, Sean Manaea, Ross Stripling. I mean, Conforto's holding on for dear life here. It feels like he may be, you never know what's going on with him. They just have not done well in free agencies. So that's why I'm waiting on Farhan to say, can you lend the big fish?
Well, can I ask you this in a roundabout way? And I know Steiny kind of was trying to talk about this yesterday, and I think it's a really good point, and you and I brought this up earlier in the day. In a roundabout way, as devastated as I was because they didn't sign someone, because when at that time, we didn't see any of these prospects, and there was nothing but negativity coming out of the farm. So you felt like the land was barren. I think there's more to wrap your arms around with this team now, having not signed those guys, than the constant, oh, your one big free agent guy is producing or isn't producing. Like that, I felt like everything would have been an indictment of just that one player. Meaning, let's say you brought in Correa or Judge, and they're doing really well. Oh, look what he's doing every single day. It's that guy, it's that guy, it's that guy. If he's not doing well, oh man, your guy's not doing good. That's draining. It feels way more fun to talk about the team as opposed to the one individual player that I feel like we would have been hyper focused on.
See, I don't think it would have happened like that. I don't think we do that. I mean, I hear what you're saying. We would have been hyper-focused on Aaron Judge, but we would have also had a spotlight on everybody around him. Who's protecting him? Who's pitching?
Okay.
How are they hitting around him? Why aren't they producing around him? Who's batting leadoff? Who's batting in front of Judge? You know, who they're going to bring up to support Judge? How are they going to add to help Judge out? It would have been, now, what I will say is, the expectations would have been raised. It would have been raised tremendously.
So they're doing the same thing they're doing right now, but they had one of those free agents. Do you think it would be as fun or
Absolutely.
as organic?
I think we would have been into them a lot sooner than we are.
See, that I agree with.
A lot of people were just coming aboard during this winning streak in June saying, oh boy, wait a minute. Look, I was open-minded. I'll say I just want to see it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say whether or not they're going to be 81-81. I didn't even give a win prediction total. I didn't know where they were going to be. I could see 90 wins. I could see 70 wins. But once they won that game last Wednesday in St. Louis, I said, okay, that's a big boy win.
Yeah.
The backup Anthony DeSclafani, okay, now let's see where this goes. Now I'm pulling my seat up even more. Instead, I'm laying on the couch saying, okay, baseball's on. Let me see what the Giants are doing, blah, blah, blah. That's all about them. Oh, okay. Now they may be about something. So I don't know. I think the expectations just would have been raised. That's where I'm at.
No, it's interesting because I feel like in the weirdest way, because of the way everything went down in the offseason, this feels even more unlikely what they've done, the 9-game winning streak. It feels more organic from the community wrapping their arms around them. And then seeing the youngsters produce, it feels like it came out of nowhere. See, I didn't see any of these youngsters all coming up. Yeah. Like, if we got one of the Schmidt, Bailey, Matos, I think a lot of people would be super excited. We're getting 3, and they're helping them win, and they're all looking like contributors.
Yeah.
I just didn't have that on my flow chart.
See, I would have wrapped around. I think we would have wrapped around because, you know, at some point, some of these guys would have came up.
You think so?
You know what I'm saying? Aaron Judge is not blocking Casey Schmidt.
That's true.
He's not blocking Patrick Bailey.
Even Matos plays center, and
right.
You know, yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
5-0.
I just didn't think they were that far along.
You would be hyper focused on that one player as much as you were hyper focused on Brandon Belt is Gumby's shoulders.
It always comes back to Belt.
5-0. Because the theme of the show, belt bashing. But it is crazy in contrast in how we look at the Warriors, the Niners, and the Giants. And the Giants are winning games right now. We're all having fun. But if the Warriors went on an 8-game winning streak, we're like, oh, they need to do that. They got the highest payroll in the league. They should be doing that.
And they have a superstar in Steph Curry where the sand is coming out of the hourglass.
Right.
We did that with the Giants in the Bonds era. Like, I do believe during the Bonds era, there was this tension of you have to build a winning team around him at all costs.
Do you think that tension is gone because of the 3 World Series?
And the life cycle of where the team's at. Like, if Posey was on this team right now, wouldn't we be saying, it's the last year for Posey. You got to go all in for him. You have a generational catcher. Like, I kind of said that when we were acquiring Chris Bryant down the stretch, didn't we?
Yeah.
How many more runs are you going to have with a guy like this? I think because you don't have, and maybe Crawford's just not viewed the way as Posey is, but you still have Crawford, but it doesn't feel, that sense of urgency doesn't feel there. It feels like house money.
Right.
Doesn't it?
It does. Now, I get the sense of urgency with the 49ers. I get the sense of urgency with the Warriors. But it just feels like I don't know, man. We give out so much. I don't want to go down that road.
What do you mean? No,
I don't want to go down that road today. I was gonna tie in something here, but I'm not gonna go down that road today. Today's not the day. Giants have won 9 in a row. They're 9 games over 500. They're playing some good baseball. We're going to see if they can sustain this. I have questions about them sustaining this. I do, because of the pitching staff and the way they're doing it. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. I'm eager to see how this June ends up.
Is this one of the better defensive Giants teams in a long time? Because you've got two guys who can play short.
I mean,
you got a third baseman in J.D. Davis, and when Schmidt plays there, they're really good.
I'd say it's the best defensive team under Farhan Zaidi.
Yeah, I do.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Let's start there.
That's
under
fair.
Farhan Zaidi,
That's fair.
It is their better defensive team.
It feels like to me since they lost Duffy, like, because Duffy was a good third baseman. I liked him at third base. Even though Longoria was a solid third baseman, he just always felt a step slow and on the IL at every other turn. He was a very good defensive. But their outfield defense is so much better. Conforto in left, Matos, and Yastrzemski. That's like the best defensive outfield they've had in a decade.
They have some really good this is a really good defensive team. They're getting better and better and better. Crawford's starting to get healthy. You can see him moving around a lot better. We'll see if Casey Schmidt gets back out there. They are looking better defensively. Definitely under Farhan Zaidi.
That I agree with.
Under Farhan Zaidi, for sure.
It's their best bullpen under Farhan, too. And they've had some good bullpens.
Yeah, it's a good bullpen.
Like,
it's a really good bullpen.
Like, that's the one thing I think he's done a really good job of is finding bullpen arms, and it feels like this is a good bullpen. I love Tyler Rogers, not in the ninth inning, not guaranteed in the eighth inning every time, like kind of using him in situational matchups.